Let's get into it, man, with this first topic. You already know the drill. Go ahead, hit the like button. One time for the culture, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Because over the weekend, or not even over the weekend, it was literally, I think what, we did the show Wednesday. I had to have had this by Thursday. Yeah, man. But Ian Rappaport, shout out to Ian Rappaport, man. Was on the Pat McAfee show, if I remember correctly. And doing what he does, man, dropping some insider information. And he was ultimately talking about the Miami Dolphins organization. We know Jalen Ramsey, along with Tyreek Hill, have been talked about in terms of trade or wanting to be traded. But then Rappaport brought up another guy. He brought up Jonnu Smith, their tight end, just coming off a Pro Bowl season. And he said that he's obviously somebody that wants money. And multiple teams have been calling about specifically Jonnu Smith and tight end Kyle Pitts, who was obviously with Atlanta. Now, the thing is this, for the Steelers specifically, when Rappaport brought up the interest that we have in Jonnu Smith and calling out to him, was because of his relationship with Arthur Smith, man. They go back multiple stops, man, and that's part of why they were drawing that connection and saying how it could definitely be a fit. Now, for those that don't know, in terms of Jonnu Smith, last year played in 17 games, had 88 receptions for 884 yards, and had 8 receiving touchdowns. And he was named to the Pro Bowl for the AFC. All right, that's what he did. And in terms of Jonnu Smith as a whole, let me pull up his career stats for you as well, man. But in terms of Jonnu as a whole, man, has played in 8 seasons. Started out Tennessee, like I said, his first 4 years there, he was with Arthur Smith, man, 2017 through 2020. From there, spent 2 seasons in New England, 2021, 2022. Then in 2023, he was in Atlanta with who? Arthur Smith once again. And then just last year, like I said, the Pro Bowl season was down with Miami. All right. Now, I will say this also, with 88 catches, he did have 111 targets. All right. So I know some of you might be saying, well, how does that compare to Muth? Muth last year, if I remember correctly, let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, last year, my man Muth had 78 targets, 65 receptions for 653 yards, but he still had 7 touchdowns in comparison to the 8. All right, so just a little bit of context on Jonnu Smith. And then just in terms of when he came into the league, he was a part of the 2017 draft class, 3rd round pick, 100th selection overall out of Florida International, all right, FIU. So when we're talking about Jonnu Smith, man, good player though, right? Good player, receiving threat. Obviously has had a lot of success with Arthur Smith, and he's coming off of one of his most productive seasons, which we talked about last season for him, where he was named to the Pro Bowl. But in terms of how I see it, to me personally, I mean, it could go 2 ways. I could go a couple of ways, right? You're either calling up Jonnu Smith because you're trying to add to that tight end room, man, and you want to, do the old school New England Patriots approach where they had the Gronks, the Hernandez. I forgot, might have been Watson at one point during that time frame. So it was like the little 3-piece, 4-piece of tight ends they was throwing out there, right? Or you're trying to do the whole move for Jonnu Smith, which I personally don't like that mindset at all. But I mean, if we had to entertain it, we can entertain it, right? But to me, man, I'm hopeful that this is we're bringing Jonnu Smith in to add weapons, right? Because if he wants another contract, he's currently getting $4 million. I believe that's what they're saying. He is under contract for next year. He's supposed to make $4 million and he has no guaranteed money beyond this year on top of that. So with that, man, if we're, like I said, man, looking to bring him in and get him new money, I think we can do that. Obviously, cap wise, we can. The only potential, like I said, issue would be if Aaron Rodgers were to sign and he wants such a astronomical number that, all right, now that puts Jonnu Smith on hold, but I don't anticipate that being the case. My only thing that I'm not a fan of is potentially having to give up draft capital to acquire Jonnu Smith. Is he a proven player? Yes. Is he a Pro Bowler? Yes. But I think that it would be a little bit overkill just because we already have his type in terms of the Muth. But if we're trying to double up on those type of guys while still having a blocking tight end in Darnell Washington, then yes, you could go that approach and really just try to attack teams out of bigger personnel groupings, right? Playing a lot of base, a lot of 12 personnel, make defense have to play a lot of base because you're doing a lot of 12 personnel on offense, and you have the tight ends that can ultimately win those mismatches. I think if that's what we're going with, I like that as well. I think that it starts to put more pressure on the others in that tight end room, because if you're not, a 500, 600, 700-yard tight end receiver, then yeah, don't even entertain this. You better learn how to block and play special teams. And I think that that's the part to me that, yeah, I'm just like, all right, if we're going that approach, that's fine. I like it. But let's have some order to it. And if that is the mindset, then it would also make a little bit more sense of why you moved on from GP as well. And like I said, with the whole GP thing, regardless of who initiated it, right? We'll talk about that. We just know that the end result is GP no longer being here. So now if that opens up the door for us saying, okay, we can either go the approach of replacing GP at wide receiver, whether that's with one guy or multiple guys, or we can find his production, but now at a different position, and we can ultimately find success operating out of the two tight end groupings. Either one could work, but that was kind of, when I first seen him, like Jonnu Smith, I'm like, yo, Jonnu can ball, but he's very Pat Freiermuth-esque. Like, he's in that frame. So what are we trying to do? Because I don't want to move on from Pat. I think Pat's a more consistent player. I think Pat's a more proven player. And I think Pat, just as a whole, has had less to work with at quarterback while still maintaining a certain level of production throughout those dudes, man. So me personally, that's why I'm kind of rocking the way that I'm rocking with it, man. But y'all let me know, though, man, how y'all feeling about, a Jonnu Smith trade potentially, man? Is that somebody that you would want to make a trade for? And if you did do that trade, is that a trade where you're trying to pair him with Pat Freiermuth? Or would you be looking to replace Pat Freiermuth with Jonnu, and now you're trying to use, the resource that you would have available from the Muth trade and add something else to the offense, man? But like I said, y'all let me know in the comment section, and most definitely hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe either if you are new to the channel. Like I said, man, over here talking about trading and stuff, man. I was like, bro, what we doing? Shoot, I'm at the Dagon event, the Little Caesars event, giving out pizzas. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. Shout out to Little Caesars and they Love Kitchen on Wheels. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we was out there giving out pizzas to the youth, and I'm sitting here with Moof, and they like, yo, they about to trade you, fam? What's going on? We ain't got time for that, bro. We ain't got time for that. No, serve the pizza, but you gotta stay put. You better stay in the Steelers gear. We ain't got time for that, Jonnu Smith. Either y'all together, all right, or we don't want to trade. All right, yeah, but Moof stays. You know that. Come on now.